Good morning, everybody. We've got a lot to get into. One Jets Drive, Hard Knocks, and a special guest appearance for the very first time. Oh, yeah, we get into it. Let's roll. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rodgers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Happy Tuesday to all of you. We're getting closer to the next game up for the New York Jets against Carolina Panthers coming up on Saturday. But it's time to do something that the fans have been begging for. The award-winning show that hasn't happened, that needed to happen. And here we are, little Paul and Paul action. Let's bring him in, the superstar himself, for the very first time on this brand new Boy Green Daily Show we've been doing the last couple of months. Polly joining us here on the program. Polly, what is poppin', baby?
What's going on, man? I'm not sure if the bandwidth can handle two Pauls, but we're going to figure that out. I'm an early riser, so when you asked me to jump on this morning to your daily show, I said absolutely, especially after what happened this weekend and everything going on with One Jets Drive and Hard Knocks on the way. So looking forward to getting into it with you.
Yeah, we had One Jets Drive last night, which is awesome. We'll get into their debut episode, and the Jets people telling me, a little wink, wink, hey, they wanted to, so Hard Knocks is normally on Tuesdays. Interesting. Well, booyah! We'll drop that on Monday, so fantastic. We'll see what Hard Knocks has in store. One thing they'll have in store, I guess let's just dive right into it, Polly, and I'd love to hear the behind the scenes. In case people haven't been on social media, Paul, you took the world by storm. I'm sure this isn't the first time this has happened. We're going to give a shout out to your barber right here as well. We're throwing this up on the screen. I mean, look at this. So first off, this is your wonderful barber. You can introduce him here in just a second. But here's a little video clip of the wonderful haircut he gave you. Look at that. Chef's kiss. And, of course, the Jets quote tweeted it and threw the throwback on there from a handful of years ago. Paulie, tell us what's happening here. What went into this? There's a lot of steps here, but first off, just from the haircut perspective, before it even went viral, what led you to do this?
So, my barber Critter, he goes by Critter. His real name will be, not disclosed because, nobody knows him by his actual real name. He's been cutting my hair for over 15 years. So in 2010, when the Jets were in Cortland, and obviously it's a lot closer for training camp for you and I, obviously where we are in Central and Upstate New York. I was like, you know what, you're doing designs. He started doing designs and dabbling in it back then. So I was like, you know what, let's throw the old logo in my head, and I'm going to training camp. And social media obviously in 2010 was a little bit quieter. I got local newspaper out there, took a picture of my hair back then. But there was, it was talked about amongst people at training camp, and then, on Facebook back then, active on Twitter, but it was quiet. So when the Jets were announced for Hard Knocks, many people who followed me since back then were like, you got to bring the haircut back. You got to bring the haircut back. You got to bring the haircut back. And then shortly thereafter, the memories on Facebook actually brought the haircut back up on my timeline. And then my barber texted me because he saw it and he's like, dude, are you going to bring the haircut back? So slowly but surely, so many DMs on Twitter, people tweeting me, telling me to bring it back. So finally I texted my barber and I was like, listen, I'm going to camp on 8/5. I think I have to make a late night appointment. So he fit me in 2 hours in the chair. But it was well worth it because you want to know what, we got the Jets tweeted it out, and everybody went crazy. And also I don't know if they're going to air it. They said they are going to. I don't know if it's going to be in week 1, if it's going to be in week 2 of Hard Knocks, but
Yeah, there it is.
the HBO guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, the haircut's great. Do you mind if I film a few things?" So he had me stand there for like, 6-7 minutes, had me do some different things. So I was told they're going to use it. I'm hoping they use it. It's something unique, so I would assume, they're gonna, use it in some capacity. I just don't know. I'm assuming episode 1 is done, so I don't know if they could add to it. So we'll see what happens. But it was a nice experience. I did get the the few jokes of people actually, asking me if I was DJ Khaled. So that will never go away. But
Sure.
but no, it was, and the main thing is while it was cool for me to have the ability for the picture and that to go viral. It was also really important to me to show the artwork of my barber. He's more than just my barber. He's a therapist. I see him like a brother. That time I spend in his chair every week there's a lot of normal conversations when it comes to sports. There's a lot of personal conversations when it comes to our personal life. So the bond that I have with him is special. So to be able to see how humble and how appreciative he is that an NFL team and even the Amazon Prime account for
Yes.
tweeting it out. So the phone call I got from him Saturday evening when I got home and hearing the excitement in his voice is what made it all worth it for me. Like I said, going viral and stuff like that is cool, but hearing how excited he was meant a lot more to me.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's made this comparison to you, Paulie, about it, but like the first thought when I saw you giving the proper love, like again, you could have very easily just said, "Nah, who gives a flying hoot? Who cut my hair? Look at me! Like, look the haircut, it's awesome." But you went out of your way to make sure you gave him his proper love. It reminded me of what Sauce has been doing with Al the Jeweler and all of these things. We saw it on the episode last night of One Jets Drive where he mentioned it straight up to Aaron Rodgers. And obviously, Al has gotten a lot of pubs. Zach Rosenblatt did a full-length piece on him for The Athletic. So I don't know if anyone's made that comparison to you, but that's been pretty cool for people giving the shout-outs even though they didn't have to.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, obviously, you're the first one that's bringing it up, but again, like I said, he's family to me, and he's been doing designs all the time. I mean, he could do team logos, he could do anything, and it's all freehand. There's no stencil work. It's literally,
wow, really?
It's literally shading, shears, blade, everything, freehand. And he's a really good artist, and he's someone I appreciate. So it wasn't even it was just second nature, normal for me to just make sure I give him that love for sure.
All right, fair enough. Feel free to plead the fifth here, but I mean, the curiosity inside me has to ask. You said it took, 2 hours to get this haircut done. How much does something like that go for? I have never dabbled. I've done a lot of different haircuts over the years. I'm getting old. I'm getting a few silver whiskers up there, but I've never had that kind of work done. What does that sort of thing go for? Is that, hey, what happens in the barbershop stays in the barbershop? What's happening here?
I won't disclose that for various reasons.
Okay.
But it wasn't just the haircut. It was the haircut, the design, and beard all in one. So I won't disclose that for critter reasons. But it all depends on how big it is and what you're getting done. But his prices are very fair when it comes to normal haircuts too. So he does do normal haircuts, and he's very good at it because I'm able to leave the house looking fresh every weekend when I need to go out. So
all right, feel free. You've done it a few times in generalities, but I don't know if you have them off the top of your head or what you would love to plug. But obviously, I'd love to give you the platform to circle it back to him. Where can people hit him up if they're locally in the area here? And people will travel. I mean, I know that. No. I mean, we are loyal to our barbers. So where can people hit him up?
So he is on Instagram. Critter the Barber is his handle. He is also on Facebook, but he doesn't do much of his promotion and stuff on there. His shop is called Next Level Barber Shop. It's on Seneca Turnpike in New Hartford, New York. If you're not familiar with New Hartford, New York, it's a town just outside of Utica, New York, where I am from. Everybody's always like, "Where's Utica?" It's about a half an hour from Syracuse, so that's the best way to put it into perspective for you. But people do travel to see him. People do come home when they move away to get a haircut from him. So he's very well known in the area, and like I said, he's been cutting my hair since I was 15. So Critter the Barber on Instagram. as well as, like I said, Next Level Barbershop in New Hartford, New York.
Well, I would just say, Paulie, I didn't even know what you just said until you said it, but I have bad memories of New Hartford. When I was playing high school football, back in the day, we played New Hartford in the Carrier Dome at the time. It was our first game of the season. Us, the Oswego Buccaneers, said, "Oh yeah, baby, this is going to be great." We scored one touchdown the whole game, lost 34-6. So I just got to say, New Hartford kind of gave us the business. So still have a few nightmares about that one, but nonetheless, that's wonderful for your barber. Well deserved in all of this. And I know you've been very humble about this, Paulie, but come on. If I was in your place, I would be screaming from the friggin' rooftops, baby, about all this juice that's happening here. Like, what does it mean that you're going viral? And then as we're setting up, obviously, for Hard Knocks tonight, we'll see if it's on this episode or the other. They have a ton of content because they came in around, July 15th or so. So they almost have a month of footage. So I don't know how they're going to split all this up. But what would it mean to you to be on Hard Knocks? I mean, that's immortality. You'd be on that. You'd be remembered for that show forever and be a part of that show forever.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, yeah, I mean, the humble has set in, but I won't lie. I mean, I was definitely I was definitely gleaming day of. I mean, I went in with a goal in mind to try it, when you got something like that on the side of your head, I mean, it sticks out like a sore thumb. So I mean, I did have the goal in mind. So when the guy asked me, I was like, absolutely. Why do you think I have it in my hair? So but it's just something cool. With social media and things of that nature nowadays, it's hard not to go viral if it's something that sticks out. And I've never been a person who shies away from being outgoing and doing things like that. So it's really cool. And I knew as soon as the Jets tweeted it out. I mean, silly as it sounds, I went out to brunch with friends yesterday. And we stopped at a little store on the way home. We went up north. And on the way home, we stopped at a store to pick up some things. And it was kind of like a antique store, a modern store. And I actually had this hat on. And she goes to me, "Oh, did you watch the Hall of Fame game?" And I was like, "Yeah, I watched it." I was like, "Oh, I was at training camp the other day." And I took my hat off. And she goes, "Oh, my God, you were the kid with the haircut on the Twitter." And I'm like, really?
Boom.
So I mean, and my friends started laughing and stuff, but I mean, it's just a cool thing. I mean, there's a lot more people talking Jets, which is really cool, whether it's negative or positive. I mean, I've gotten some barbs at the gym from, "Oh, you're a Jets fan now." I'm like, check me, I wear Jets stuff all the time just because you're not here all the time. But it's really cool, and more people are talking about the Jets, which is fun for me. I'm going to be talking about the Jets coming up soon. I'm joining the Jets Wall. It's a new site. It's going to be a branch of the Knicks Wall, which they got a good thing going on there. I'm going to be doing some content and stuff for them. So, it's been a while since I've talked Jets on any platforms. I kind of took a hiatus for a few years, but I'm starting to dip my feet back in. I love what you do. I love seeing all the stuff that you, Matt, and Jake were bringing from Canton. Really cool, like behind the scenes, different stuff that we don't always get. That's the boom nowadays is fan driven content, because that's what like it is now, content creation. So
of course,
just people talking Jets, and like you said, I did soak it all in, but like sitting back on it now, like it's great. I won't lie. I will definitely not lie about that.
Let me just say, set the phone to vibrate for tonight with Hard Knocks coming.
Yeah,
ding, 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 ding. Paulie. Ooh.
Yeah, like I said, I keep thinking over in my head that if it does air, whenever it does, I'm gonna, the Leonardo DiCaprio meme when he points at the TV and whistles. Like, I'm hoping it airs. It's people are talking about it and stuff. So we'll see what happens. If they don't use it, I think it's a mistake. But we'll see what happens.
All right, beautiful. Well, we're all looking forward to all that. That should be fun. So a couple of other things, because before we know it, this show's going to be over. These are quick 20-minute episodes here, Boy Green Daily here on the program. Let me go to One Jets Drive. So that debuts last night. Any major takeaways, anything you liked, hated, or anything in between? We got a lot of Aaron Rodgers, which is always good. That's good for the brand. Anything that stood out to you on the first episode?
So I love the intro breakdown, like before they left OTAs.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, like it's still surreal. Even though I saw him in person on Saturday, It's still surreal. I do think that a lot of the stuff that we saw on the first episode of One Jets Drive was a lot of the stuff that they tweeted out. So it was like, I kind of already saw this, so I was waiting for stuff. And then my biggest disappointment, and this is going to be a shock to nobody who follows me, there was no coverage of the throwbacks. There was nothing about the release of the throwbacks, and I was a little disappointed there. But I'm never going to be down on Jets content. You know, I'm glad that they're still able to do their thing, even with Hard Knocks being on their turf. But I didn't think a lot of the stuff we had seen, a lot of the stuff, you know, they tweeted out Sauce giving him the chain. You know, we saw some clips of Aaron Golfin, which it was super cool to see Miles Teller and Brian Baumgartner. You know, Kevin from The Office is a huge Office fan. So I definitely enjoyed the content. It's just like, I wish there was some stuff that we didn't see. But all in all, you know, I always look forward to it. The Jets social team is second to none. I know that they were in the top 2 of the rankings, but they're top 1.
Correct.
And that's no bias. That's just factual. The stuff that they do is second to none. And Perry and his team, top to bottom, they're all hard workers, and we're thankful, because there was a time way back in the early ages of Twitter where you know, people really didn't know how to utilize the platform, and content was few and far between. But they're on top of everything, and they all do great work. But the show, like I said, I just wish it had some things that I hadn't seen already.
Yeah, 2 things there. First off, the only mention of the throwbacks, and there wasn't even a mention, it was a clip of Aaron Rodgers looking sexy in it. That was cool, but it was just too quick. It wasn't like, hey, they're back or anything of that nature. So that was disappointing. And to your point, this is a pet peeve of mine. Like, I hate seeing movie trailers in 2023. They show too damn much. If you just showed me a taste, okay, these actors, okay, here's the plot. Okay, I'm in. That's it. Stop. They show all these funny scenes, and then you get built up for the movie. You see the movie, you're like, oh, so that was the funniest scene. The thing you already showed me. Oh, well. So that part of the equation I can totally understand. So hopefully they can learn from that and go back to it, because again, as you said, the team is uber talented. I want to swing back to this, Pauly. The end of an era may be too strong, but Chris Streveler surprisingly gets cut. And maybe the surprising part is, for those who don't know, he got injured during the preseason game. He also completed the same amount of passes to the Jets as he did to the Browns. He was 1 for 7. So 1 pass to the Jets completed, 1 pass to the Browns completed on the interception, although he should have thrown a couple more interceptions. Long story short, it's over, but it was a fun preseason last year. Are you going to remember anything about this Chris Streveler era that was here with the Jets, or ultimately his inability to throw football forward? Is that part of the thing that will be forever remembered?
I tweeted out earlier today, and everybody knows that I'm very pro Streveler, but I mean, I tweeted the truth today. You know, Chris couldn't throw, but it was fun to pretend, because we didn't have an NFL starting quarterback on our roster last year. Like, it was just fun. It was something to do when, like, to make jokes. There's rumors he could come back with the injury designation, so I hope he sticks around. I mean, he's a great dude. You know, I follow him on social, and I wish him nothing the best, whether he sticks around or goes elsewhere. But yes, an end of an era, a lot of sad faces, but I do wish him the best for sure.
Can you believe that last year we're going, Chris Streveler preseason games, this is wild. This year, Aaron Rodgers, Pro Football Hall of Famer, as you mentioned on One Jets Drive, hey guys, our goal this year is to win a championship. Champs on 3, 1, 2, 3 champs. Those 2 events that I just mentioned are within 12 months of each other. Has that hit yet?
So I had an opportunity to literally be in the back of the end zone for the red zone drills that finished practice on Saturday. And he's a menace in the red zone. He is a menace in the red zone. And just his ability to address something immediately. There was a second where he immediately snap, boom, touchdown to Rucker, boom, touchdown to Lazard. It's just to be able to see him that close, and now it's starting to set in. And I'm going to be there week 1 when he runs out of that tunnel. I've been to a lot of games at MetLife Stadium, and I'm not sure anyone is prepared for what that building is going to sound like opening Monday night.
Oh my God, that's going to be something. And Pauly, before we get you out of here, let's wrap up with this. So Chris Streveler, one of the reasons they moved on is his inability to practice with this injury. And the Jets obviously have an operation to run, so that's why they moved on, which leaves 3 quarterbacks in the room as currently constructed: Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Tim Boyle. Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are locks to make the roster. Tim Boyle, we'll see with the new third quarterback rule. There's a chance for it. Do you want to see them bring somebody else in, a guy that Jet fans have been, clamoring is way too strong, but Teddy Bridgewater signs with Detroit. So the options that are hanging out there of some intrigue are all kind of fading away very quickly. Do you have any interest in bringing somebody like that in, or just some random camp arm? Because obviously they need to work their way through the rest of the preseason and training camp. Do you have any interest in adding another QB to the room now?
I mean, they may, only because obviously there's 3 games left, and
right.
It's very unlikely Rodgers is going to play in a preseason game unless he begs to go in that Giants game, and I highly doubt that. But if he does, it better be in and out quickly.
Right, so that leaves 2 guys, right, to your point.
Yeah. I want to see Zach play more. I think he needs to take more reps.
Sure.
And I don't really know if they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the final 53. So, I mean, if they want to bring somebody else in to be a camp arm because you need that extra arm, sure. But at the end of the day, it's not somebody that's going to be relevant in making the roster. They're not going to bring in Carson Wentz. They're just not. So, I mean, if there is somebody out there they want to bring in to just get some reps for a week or 2, sure. But I can't see it happening because with the moves that they made today, they've already filled them with, it looks like, an edge rusher and another defensive lineman. So, I mean, I don't think they're going to open anything up right away, especially with them being away from home. So we'll see what happens. I don't see a need for it because, again, at the end of the day, if Rodgers isn't the one who's playing quarterback, then we have to see what Zach Wilson's going to do and if he's made strides. I have no comment on that. I'd like to see him play more in preseason, but at the end of the day, it's all about Aaron Rodgers right now. I'm not worried about anybody other than Aaron Rodgers until Aaron Rodgers is not the Jets quarterback. And that's how it should be at this point. Like, people are complaining about, Zach this and who's the backup. Let Zach take his reps in the preseason, and then it's on to the regular season. That's all that matters.
As it should be. I think you put that well. Again, Aaron Rodgers will and should be the quarterback for the Jets in all these games. So the backup or third string or any of these other conversations should be somewhat irrelevant. I will give one mini tip of the cap in a weird way to Chris Streveler. Last year, he was brought in, and the reports came out when he was signed, hey, this is nothing more than a camp arm. They need to get through. And for folks who don't understand, and Paulie was just at practice, he could tell you, like, there are just reps that all these receivers have to catch balls. So there's got to be a warm body to be able to do that at a minimum, let alone the preseason games. Or again, if Aaron Rodgers isn't playing and you have Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, are they playing full 2 games minimum and seeing what else happens? That's why you may need another guy. Chris Streveler's brought in as just a camp arm, and he was able to carve out something for himself. Ultimately, it was just practice squad, but later coming up to the roster. So sometimes you get humble beginnings and you can make something out of it. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But Paulie, it's first off, any excuse to bring you on the friggin' show, superstar. And I just had to make sure I secured you before Hard Knocks, because then after that, I'm going to be talking to your agent, your people, and then there's all these barriers, and then we're going to be at the club. I'm like, hey, Paulie, it's me. And you're like, who's that? Just keep walking, keep walking.
No,
so I appreciate Paul, before you reach that level, I appreciated squeezing in when I can. Yeah.
You got a direct line of communication. If there ever is a time where I need an agent, you can hit me up personally.
Excellent. I appreciate that golden pass. I will be exercising that quite frequently, I'm sure, as you reach the celebrity status. Paulie, it's awesome, man. Enjoy this Jet season. It's going to be brilliant. It's wonderful to hear you're back in the game. I love that you dipped your toe in the water. It's warm, and you worked your way in there. That's beautiful. So keep doing it, pal. Jet fans need to hear more from you, and now they'll get the opportunity to do so. So I can't wait for more of that to come out here in the near future, pal.
Thanks so much for having me on. It was a blast. Like I said, I love what you're doing. Keep doing it and keep providing the content, because, as long as it's on the timeline, it's going to be seen by everybody. So keep doing it, man.
There it is. And now I just have to plan a trip to see Paulie, because we're in the same universe, basically. Like, it's not like Paulie lives out in California, so we can make this happen. I got to get his barber to now, like, attack me. I need him to do something for me in the near future, so we're going to have to set that up in the future. That'll be brilliant. So we'll put that on the calendar, Paulie. We'll put that on there.
Sounds good.
All right, there he is. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in for Boy Green Daily, and at a minimum, we'll see you tomorrow morning at